Welcome to the Miracle You, guiding you on the journey towards finding passion and purpose and how to discover, create, and live a life by your design. Whether your success has been plentiful or your missed opportunities have been overwhelming, we can help you become a more empowered, masterful person and show you how to share your gift with the world. It's time to inspire change from within with the host of the Miracle You, Vince Kramer.
Hello, imagination. I'm Vince Kramer, your host, and welcome to the Miracle You, where you learn about the magic of living your life by finding the example in real life. Each and every one of us is amazing in our own right. We're unique, different than anyone else in this world of almost 8 billion people now. And we all have something to share, something to give. We have our gifts and talents that are special. We have our understanding, our knowledge, our experience. The stories that we have to tell about our life can bring so much to those around us. We have wisdom to share because of our experience, because of our growth, because of how we've been showing up in the world. And that wisdom is meant to be shared, not just for you, but for the people around you that can learn and grow and experience life in a different way because of how you've experienced it. We each have our own way of living life, and others might gain something from learning how we've lived our life up to now. And as we choose to step further into our unique purpose and be more of who we are, they can gain from that also. Learning how to move a little quicker into living life from a place of bringing all of yourself in a way that helps others do the same. The wisdom that's available to us from those around us, from the universe as a whole, can help us grow and expand into who we are faster and in a more powerful way to be all that we can be. I'm with Cierra Fly Bobo today. Cierra is the owner and operator of the June Marie brand, a fashion line committed to styling identity and telling authentic stories through fashion. As the founder of Fly Life Inc., and a certified nonviolence 365 trainer with the King Center, she uses her authenticity and reach to celebrate identity and nonviolence, leading women and girls to be full of faith, full of love, and full of youth. Fly inside and out. Cierra has published 4 books. Her goal is to curate content that encourages and empowers people to fly above all obstacles and fulfill their purpose in life. Cierra Fly Bobo, are you ready to share the miracle of you with the imagination?
Yes. Thank you for having me.
It's such a pleasure. I'm so impressed with who you are and what you're bringing to the world, and I can't wait to share more of you with the imagination. Could you tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now and kind of what the motivation for that is?
Really, to sum up what I'm doing right now is probably like the handle of my social media and my website is just really empowering people to be fly inside out. And so I took that approach by basically creating different avenues in which I can help people to do that. And so on the inside part, as you mentioned in my short bio, just empowering teen girls and young girls to be fly inside out through our curriculum, through our nonprofit. We partner with school systems here in the metro Atlanta area. And we are able to go in and really have those conversations that the teachers now are always in position to have with the girls, and giving them the tools, whether emotionally, or even resources to really come out of a place emotionally so they can thrive, and to strengthen their emotional intelligence, as well as strengthen their information that they need in order to be successful in life, whether it's resources, whether it's financial literacy, whether it's, just skill sets that they may need to thrive in life. And a lot of times we go to underserved communities to do so. And so another thing that we're focusing on is curating conversations, as you said, through my show on YouTube, Fly Inside Out. And we just, just talk about different things that people walk through in life, struggles, and how to heal and go forward and thrive. And lastly, that fashion arm that you mentioned through Jewel Marie brand is like the outside piece, just helping women to really identify their style of fashion. Not all of us have the same style, and that's amazing because not all of us are the same people. And so our slogan for Jewel Marie is styling your identity. And so that's the outside part. When we say fly inside out, we want you to feel good and be equipped to thrive internally so that it can shine on the outside, not only through your fashion, but through your confidence. And so that's pretty much what I'm up to every day of the week in one capacity or the other. And so I love what I do.
My listening audience is about 25 to, I think I've got a couple in the 70s listen to the podcast.
Oh, wow.
For that group of people, which is very interesting to have that wide a range, tell us what it means to be fly inside and out.
And we're saying our adults and our seasoned adults, I would say, it means a lot because I think as we age, I heard someone quote something last night that was really powerful. And they were saying that the most vulnerable stage of life is aging. And I think that, in that space as we're aging, we begin to question or doubt or become even a little anxious about what tomorrow brings. But I think that it's so important that we focus on today in the present and that we embrace that the fact that we're here, no matter what age or season we're in, that there's purpose to what we do and what we should be doing in life. And so I think it's so important for people to know age doesn't determine purpose nor your flyness. And so you can be fly at any age, long as you are focusing on being the best you that you can be. And then fly, of course, is an acronym for full of faith, full of love, and full of youthfulness. And I believe youthfulness is a mindset. I don't think it has an age to it. In my mind, I'll never age. In my mind, my goal is to become wiser, but not age. I think, it's just about staying youthful in who you are and how you approach every day. And so I think anybody's fly. You could be 97 years old, and I believe you're fly, and I think you have purpose. It's just about how you decide to approach life with your mind.
A great philosophy and an understanding. So many people believe that because of societal rules, and a lot of it's tied to the baby boomers because we were educated and treated like we needed an education around how important it was to work and we forget who we are. And then we get older and we've been trained that, okay, it's time to retire, just kick back, do nothing, stay out of the way. And unfortunately, there's a great opportunity to leave and live a legacy in the last part of your life that you get to experience also. And I think you're living your legacy now and as you go through life, which is huge. And I think that's a great example for all of us at any age. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. No, the way you just broke that down was so profound to me, even to help me to understand my elders, my grandparents and my parents, because seeing how you all were trained from the work, retire, do nothing, and I could see how that can create an imbalance if you're not careful. Because it's almost like once you retire, I've seen people retire and become depressed because it's like, what is my life worth now outside of work? And it's like, oh, your life is worth so much more. You were not the sum total of your job or your title,
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
and so when you said that, it just resonated with me so well.
Let me ask you this. One of the things that we share on every podcast is people's wake up calls, what got them to step more into who they are. You are a music artist. Even that, I think you stepped beyond as you started looking at authenticity and purpose. But tell us about some of the things that happened in your life that were not so good, but prepared you to be who you are right now.
Well, let's just, man, I'm so transparent about this, but, just even being born to a teen mom, my mom is amazing. She's my best friend, but those dynamics come with their different challenges. So you being born to a 16-year-old mother, Unfortunately, I'm a 1980s baby. And so in urban America, there was a such thing as the crack epidemic. And so my father actually got addicted to crack in the late 80s. And so having a teen mom and a father that's an addict created so many challenges for me. So just even growing up, seeing violence, seeing domestic violence, seeing some levels of struggle, and trying to find my identity outside of my surroundings was a journey, and at times I was upset about it. At times I was angry. At times I was very insecure. Dealt with some rejection things because I felt like my dad chose drugs over me, especially as a kid, because you don't really understand that drug addiction is a disease and that is not so easy to put down. But in a kid's mindset, you're like, well, why are you choosing that over me, Dad? I'd rather have you, present in my life. And he was absent in and out so much throughout my upbringing. And so, overcoming those dynamics were challenging. But I think my turn shifted at the age around really high school years. I would say high school years when I was getting into some trouble and then kind of beginning to observe some different things, seeing those that were living a certain lifestyle, where their destination was ending at, where they were going, what their future looked like, and then being exposed to some people that were being successful in life and saying, what's the difference here? And I began to really discern, choices, the power of choice and the power of you have control over where you want to go in life. It all is a sum total of your choices and what you decide to do. No one is controlling your life. You have the power. And so I began through wisdom. I believe in God, so I have a relationship with God, but just wisdom from spiritual aspects, from just wisdom from my elders. I began to become a sponge, and I began to seek out wisdom and information. And that wisdom began to shift my dynamics on the choices that I was making as an individual. And the more I began to apply wisdom to my life, the more I began to get good results, and my life began to turn around. And so despite my start, I realized that my choices can end me up somewhere that my surroundings wouldn't say I would end up. And so I would say that was my search for wisdom and understanding, changed my life once I applied that wisdom and understanding.
That in itself is something that we could probably talk hours on, because in our teenage years, our early 20s, you talked about high school, you started to get this understanding. We are moving into more of who we are as individuals. We want to kind of take charge of our lives,
Yeah.
which, we're still developing the reasoning part of our brain, yet you found an understanding to search for wisdom. How did that happen for you? And we all need to search for wisdom no matter what age we are. So could you share how you learned to search for wisdom, and maybe even some of the mental processes you go through to soak that information in?
I think it was two things. When you're hurting, or you feel some level of pain, I think at times you're just looking for a way out of it, or a way to relieve it. And so because of my dad's addiction, I knew, I made a vow to myself I would never use substances to cope. And so I think at that time, it's like, okay, so how do I get rid of the emotional pain I'm feeling, the abandonment I'm feeling, the insecurities that I'm feeling? How do I get rid of that? And so I began to seek for truth. And because, like I said, I didn't want to cope. I knew what coping looked like if you cope with the wrong things. And so I said, okay, so let me find another way. And so in my pursuit, I was just blessed to be in certain environments, or introduced to certain environments where I saw people succeeding in life. And I'm like, so I began to ask questions like, how did you get there? How did you overcome that? Or, it was just divine that you will be introduced to people that maybe have a similar story, or are at a place where you want to go. And so in those moments, I just didn't shy away from asking questions or seeking information or listening. And I think, wisdom is not hard to find. You just have to seek after it. And so that's kind of what philosophy I took in order to do so.
wisdom is great, but if you don't do anything with it, then you're just sitting there with a whole bunch of information in your head. What was your motivation to take action and step further into moving along the journey of that wisdom?
I want to be great. I want to have a legacy of being a great person. I think that's important to me. And greatness looks different to everybody. But me just thinking about life from a retrospective perspective, just if when I leave here, what would I like to be said about me? What would I like to have accomplished? What would I have liked? How would I have liked to encounter people? And so all that stuff began to matter to me because I started seeing life as a gift and that it's not guaranteed. And so the more I saw that, I'm like, man, let me make the best out of my dash between when I was born and when I die, because we all are born and we all gonna die. And so I think if you don't apply the wisdom, then you won't get the results you want. And so, or you won't even know if it's truly wisdom or not if you don't apply it and see. And so I think for me, that just became my motivation. I wanted to be a great person. I wanted to do great things and I wanted my life to matter. And I think that's why I took the approach I took of applying the wisdom.
Thank you. As we look at really delving into the things that we love to do and the things that we're pulled to, in my research, I found that at 8 years old, you were already starting to wear fly clothes and already bringing your love and your youth out at 8 years old. And from what I understand, from what I researched, sometimes it wasn't truly fully accepted in church, but your mom stayed with you and said, dress the way you want, be who you are. Could you tell us that story? Because I think it's something that people will really appreciate and be drawn to.
No, yeah, this was probably in my early young adult years. People have a lot of opinions on how women should dress, especially when you bring in religion. And so, me, I'm just artistic. Me dressing the way I dress is just an expression of how I want to express myself for the day. And, when you get into religious circles, a lot of times they have rules on how a woman should dress, if her hair should be covered or not, or if her dress should be a certain level of inches below her knees, and or even if she can wear pants. It's in some doctrines that believe that women shouldn't wear pants at all. And so it's just all these different rules. And they were really putting me in bondage because I just felt like, what can I do? Does this define who I am if I decide I don't want to wear pants, or I want to wear pants, or I want to wear makeup, or I don't want to cover my hair? And so, my mom was just very instrumental in encouraging me to be authentic to who I was. And so just realizing that how I dress does not determine my morality, really, And so once I got that revelation, I was okay with people saying what they wanted to say, but I had to stay true to who I was and true to what I believe in. And I just think how I dress has nothing to do with my morality. So,
So then Jew Marie was born,
yes.
and tell us what the brand brings and how it helps people live their authenticity.
What's cool about Drew Marie is we are in a unique space, especially in women's fashion, because most women's fashion is ready to wear, meaning that you could go into the store, you pick out your size, and you just take it home. But we are actually in the tailoring side of things and customization side of things as well. So we have the garments that you could just go online and pick your size and buy it, and we ship it to you. But we also have this side where we customize things. And what's cool about that is everything is made to measure. And that basically means we come and we measure you. And based off of your unique design, your unique shape, we create a garment based on, you pick out the fabrics. We go through the whole creative process together, co-creating a style that best fits you. And so that to me is so amazing, because at the end of the process, the customer is typically always happy. And that's because they had a piece in helping create it. Like they had a piece in like, yo, okay, I think I want to do a purple suit and I want to do this type of shoe or this type of thing. And so, they rely on my expertise to help them and mold it to a way to where it comes out great. But at the same time, I want to hear from them. What's your favorite color? Oh, this color looks great on you. Oh, let's do this. What look are you going for? And so that's why. So our tagline is style your identity, because when you are creating stuff that's made to measure, it's based off your measurements. So people always say, "Do you make plus size clothes?" I'm like, I make clothes for everybody because it's based off your measurements. And
Mhm.
so I think that's what's so unique about us, that we're not just having a slogan that sounds great, but we actually have a part of our arm of fashion that actually produces that for people of all sizes, all races, all colors, all creeds. And so that's the fun part about Jumri.
Let me ask you this, and this might put you on the spot, and if it does, I apologize.
No worries.
But one of the things that we share at Imagine Miracles is that we have to understand all parts of our unique purpose.
Mhm.
And one of those parts of our unique purpose is what we call your quintessence, the real and concentrated essence of you. It's that energy that people feel when you walk into the room.
Mhm.
They just know who you are. Like, you know, I've only seen pictures of you, but I fell in love with you as a person as soon as you came on, and I got to see who you were because I could feel the energy of who you are.
Oh wow.
Let
Thank
me ask you this about fashion,
you. Mhm.
because I think because we put out this energy, the clothes that we wear are also kind of um, as you say, identity for us. But then also, if it matches the energy of who we are, we become so much more powerful. How do
Yes.
you how do you feel about that?
Listen, here's the thing. I realized, and I had to have a conversation with myself earlier this year, because I'm in a lot of different spheres of influence doing, because I do so many things, whether it's training or speaking and all these things. And a lot of times when you are on someone else's platform, they may want to tell you how to show up. And I just made a vow to myself, I will no longer be on any platforms that does not allow me to show up as myself. Here's why. Because they are asking me to come and do me and be impactful in what I do. I cannot be impactful if I'm not authentic. And that's what I had to realize about myself. Whenever I have to show up and be something else to be in order to be on your platform, then you're not going to get the best results out of me. And so it's so important to me that I show up as me, and that includes how I dress. Of course, if it's a gala or something like that, I'm not going to wear jeans and some sneakers or something like that. So you understand the appropriateness of the task or the event. However, how I show up dressed up should be left up to me. And so I don't do that, because when I show up dressed like fly, I have always been the most impactful. Because what I realize is that fashion, for lack of a better word, ministers to people. A lot of times, especially when I walk into a room, the first thing that makes people comfortable about approaching me and having a conversation with me is something that I have on. They're like, "Oh, I like your earrings. Those are cool." Or, "Oh man, your hair." Or, "Oh man, I love your sneakers." Or, something like that. But it opens the gate for us to now let all barriers down and create a conversation and an authentic encounter with another human being. And I spread love that way. And so I just feel like fashion um, creates influence. And so for me, I no longer try to water down my fashion, because I've seen it work for me in so many instances and allow me to come in and be impactful in ways that inspire and empower people.
That's if your clothes match your essence, if your message matches your essence, you are going to attract the people who are in alignment with the energy of who you are, and that's where you make the biggest impact, the biggest difference. And you explained it so well. So thank you for sharing that. I want to delve into a little bit further about something else that you're doing also. Um, Stepping out and working with the King Center for Nonviolence 365.
Mhm.
Could you, I think it's so important for each of us to know that we can create abundance in our lives, and we can start businesses, be an entrepreneur, do amazing things to bring abundance into our lives. But abundance comes into our lives in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, because we have a mutual friend, that being a nonviolence 365 trainer brings a lot of abundance into your life. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about that.
Oh man, being at the King Center as a trainer and a facilitator for the last, I think I first started in 2011. And so 11 years now, has been transformative. It has transformed the way I view um, relationships, how I approach relationships, how I approach people, how I approach myself. Um, and and it's just been for the better. It just helps me to understand the skill set that's needed to engage people well. And it's like a lot of times you can have the heart for it, you can have the passion for it, but sometimes you don't have the skill set. And so, becoming a trainer allowed me to get trained and learn and be in an ever learning process, because you never totally arrive, but and help me to unlearn a lot of biases that I had, a lot of just bad skill sets that I had when it came to engaging people and creating a community and environment that I want people to feel welcome, want people to feel equity in, want people to feel love. And so, man, it's been one of the greatest choices I've ever made, was to attach myself to such an amazing organization, such an amazing legacy of the late great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., as well as his wife, Mrs. Coretta Scott King, and their teachings. It has really transformed my life and my all forms of relationships in my life.
What would you like to see the world look like?
Ooh, I would like the world to become more gracious, more loving, unconditional love to be exact, um, and more considerate. I think that we sometimes can get stuck in our own silos and our own spheres, that we don't um, take a moment to try to extend empathy, to understand someone else's struggle, and to assist in their struggle in some form of fashion, and or helping people to learn how to fish if you already know how. And so I think that's where the consideration comes. It's like, well, I know how to fish, I'm good, but they don't know how to fish and they're hungry. And but you have a skill set that if you teach them that skill set, now they're empowered to feed themselves and to teach the next generation. And so I just think if we as a world can become more gracious, loving, and considerate, I think we'll be better off globally. So
What you just shared is something that we also shared. Imagine Miracles. When we start making the difference that we're here to make,
mm,
it opens the doors for others to be able to make the difference that they're meant to make. And that is so powerful.
yes.
Believe it or not, we're getting close on our time. What piece of guidance would you give that you want everybody to take away from our time together to lead to a world like that?
Do a authentic self inventory. I think sometimes we're so quick to look at other people and say what they need to change. And I think when we get just real with ourselves and say, hey, this is what I could work on this. Like something that I'm personally working on, truthfully right now, is becoming a better listener. I think, especially when you are a person that seek out wisdom, if you're not careful, you'll think that you have all the answers. And so you have to remember that life, as forever, you're a student, and there are always opportunities to learn from anybody. Even a 5-year-old teaches me things sometimes that are much wiser than I've ever heard. And so I think we have to just do true assessments and say, I can grow in that area. Or let me shift the way I think about that. Or let me unlearn that. That's just not a good idea or concept to even pursue or to stay in my state of thinking, you know? And so I would say those, if anything, just do those real self-assessments within yourself so that you can continue to grow and become what you want to see. So
I think unlearned is so powerful. Sometimes the things we unlearn really opens up the doors to being more of who we are and being more authentic. And obviously, you're on that journey. And thank you so much for being on that journey. Could you share how people could get in touch with you, learn a little bit more about you?
sure. I think I mentioned it earlier. I know I do a lot of things, but everything is on one website that can branch you out to the other websites. But flyinsideout.com, everything's spelled normal, flyinsideout.com. You can, book me to speak. You can see where my books are available. You can see where my website is and my nonprofit, all there. And then on social media, most of all my pages are Fly Inside Out as well. And so, that's the best way.
Great. I'll make sure all that information is available on Cierra's show page. Just go to themiracleyou.com and look for Cierra's episode. All that information will be available. Thank you for being who you are and the difference that you're making in the world. I surely appreciate you. And as I shared earlier, the energy that you exude is so welcoming, so powerful. And I can tell that you're coming from the heart and the difference that you want to make in the world. So thank you for being with us today, and thank you for who you are.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. It's just truly an honor to just be here and to be a part of a second of your audience's time. And so I'm grateful, and I look forward to hopefully doing something else in the future.
Sounds like a deal.
Yes.
On behalf of my wife, Mary, my business partner, and the entire team here at Imagine Miracles, we want to wish each and every one of you a miracle day.
You've completed this episode of The Miracle You, but we have plenty more to help you discover your own personal passion and purpose. Head over to themiracleyou.com for free resources to assist you on your journey, as well as register for our free webinar, Discover Your Miracle Life, 3 mind-awakening steps toward your unique purpose, or apply for a one-on-one Your Life, Your Way breakthrough session and discover your next best step on your journey. All available exclusively on our website. That's themiracleyou.com. We look forward to sharing more experiences of passion, purpose, and life by design next time, right here on The Miracle You.